We're headed to the crystal clear waters of Balmorhea State Park to put the new Invisible Dive Case Pro head to head with the standard case. The X5 was already king of 360 cameras for underwater footage, but this fat daddy of a dive case puts it on par with the traditional action cams and makes it a serious contender for the best dive action camera available. Before we even get in the water, let's talk about the cases. The standard Invisible Dive Case runs about $100 already. And it's a good dive case, but you do have a little bit of softness around the edges. Now, the Invisible Dive Case Pro is at $120. And right away, you can tell that this is an absolute chonker of a dive case. Insta360 even had to include this weight that you screw on in between the camera and your selfie stick to offset the buoyancy of this giant case. Now, for a test like this, we needed perfect conditions and crystal clear water, plenty of space, and a dive buddy to run side-by-side shots. Balmorhea State Park has always been our home base for camera tests, so it was just the obvious choice. And I have to give a huge shout out here to Desert Reef Outfitters in Midland for hooking us up with the free tank fills and even setting me up with a last-minute dive buddy to make this entire video possible. Thank you, John and Lacey. Head west from Midland and 2 hours later, you're at an oasis in the desert, and it doesn't get much better for a gear test like this. So I don't think that I need to drone on and on about the performance difference. I'll let the footage speak for itself. But one major upgrade is how much better it is at split shots. The larger body and dome lets you get those incredible half in, half out of the water shots, and they look fantastic. Honestly, I'm blown away by the better performance of the Pro Dive Case. It's sharper, steadier, just overall cleaner image. And I can't wait to push it into some more challenging environments. Now, even though it's larger, diving with it underwater with the counterweight on, it handled about the same as a standard dive case. I didn't really notice a difference. The only downside is the size. It takes up more room in your bag for sure, and you want to be extra careful. Keep it in its original case and just make sure that you don't get this thing scratched. But the jump in performance, that's a trade-off I'm willing to make every time. Here's where it gets crazy. The standard dive case is already $100, so just for $20 more, you get all of this. You need a dive case anyway if you're gonna try to capture 360 images underwater, so this is an absolute no-brainer for me. I'd recommend it to casual divers and serious shooters alike. I was already pretty big on the X5, but I still leaned on the Ace Pro 2 and even GoPros when I needed that extra image quality. With this case, a lot of that difference gets erased. The ability to just hit record, dive, and then frame your shots perfectly in post, that makes the X5 my suggested scuba camera from now on. Even if you already own the standard case, I still think the performance boost is worth the upgrade. I'm gonna include some Ace Pro 2 footage here as well. It's a fantastic camera on its own with unreal image quality, but I'm willing to give up a touch of sharpness for the flexibility of 360. And this case closes that gap enough to make the trade-off easy. One more thing people don't talk about enough is the stabilization. 360 stabilization is on a whole other level. Even though the X5 and the Ace Pro 2 both technically run the same stabilization, with 360 your camera movement basically doesn't matter. When you reframe and post, all that shake or whenever you aim your camera a different direction, those jerks that you get, it's completely gone. I've included some side-by-side clips to show you the difference. And a quick note on the new 360 offerings from GoPro and DJI. I want to test them and I want to try them out, and eventually I will. But until they release dive cases, the Insta360 X5 is still king of underwater 360 video. Hit subscribe and drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it. If you want my suggestion for what to watch next, click this video here. And if you're new here, Here's something awesome. We hide real treasure underwater. We call it The Hunt. If you find one of our coins, you win high-end dive gear from brands that we trust. The hunt is on.